Hey everyone. So Blake Hudson just took over for his. He had to cancel last minute, so I'm still going to be talking about Facebook ads. I added in a few more slides to kind of go with like the secrets of Facebook ads as well. But we're going to be talking about Facebook ads, how they work, and how you can actually scale with the right data and using pixel data and essentially how you can scale and how the algorithm works as well, so you can understand that before even running Facebook ads. How many people actually have ran Facebook ads before? Okay, every single person. Cool, that helps. All right, cool. So what are Facebook ads? So Facebook is a creative-based advertising platform. That is like everything is based on creative. It is also based on the actual pixel data is when you want to scale. You got to have pixel data. So we're going to talk about pixel data in a few more slides. And Facebook is also a top of funnel, meaning people that have never heard about you. It's a middle of funnel, meaning people that have heard about you, and bottom of funnel, targeting people that have already purchased from you as well. So how you can use Facebook ads to actually scale your business, it's going to be with leveraging the Facebook algorithm, because if you play with the Facebook algorithm, it will reward you a lot. It will just continue to push your ads more and more, and you're just going to keep getting more and more sales. Going to go through traffic ads versus sales ads, the difference between the two, and then how you can actually start and scale with direct sales by leveraging the pixel data. So jumping into how you can actually rapidly scale with Facebook ads when you're running sales ads and leveraging the pixel is by continuously optimizing your creative and copy and knowing what's working for you, leveraging the right targeting options, and then how you can actually simplify your customer acquisition strategy. So before this, why should you trust me? Well, my name is Cameron Snow. I do want to preface, I'm not an author at all. I've never written a book, maybe in the future, but I do love marketing. And over the last 4 years, I have worked with over 500 different brands in over 300 different niches and spent and advised on over $60 million in ad spend across Facebook, Google, TikTok, and Snapchat. Now I only work with authors. And I've also helped with optimizing email and overall structure of businesses, organic content, all of that stuff. And throughout this time, I've helped a lot of people scaling their business, loved every second of it, the ups and the downs. There's a lot of ups and downs, learning a lot of mistakes, learning through a lot of mistakes, and I'm essentially here to show you the shortcuts, so hopefully you don't make them as well. So before we get into that, I just want to share these 3 rules of business of all of these businesses that I've worked with, especially when they're just starting up. These are the 3 main rules of business that all of them followed to be successful. The first one kind of sounds a little like obvious, like cliche, but it's never tell yourself you're not good at something. And I say that because I hear a lot of the time where people say like, I'm not good at ads, or like, I'm not good at technology. And that makes it nearly impossible to get good at that. So if you ever tell yourself that, I still tell myself that, or it's like, I'll catch myself. And so try to just like shift your mindset to like, I learned from a mentor that you can learn those types of things in like 20 hours if you really give it some time. So try to shift your mindset and actually to be able to get good at it. So the next one's gonna be committing and sticking with strategies. So typically when something's about to get hard, or you maybe start with it and it's starting to get hard, that's typically when you're like right on the edge of figuring it out. And then if you just push past that, you can really get past and see, like reap the rewards of what you're actually going for. And so just always recommend committing and sticking with strategies for the long run, and it's gonna help pay off in the future. The third one is going to be simplicity scales and complexity fails. The more variables you have within a business, the more difficult it makes to run that business. So trying to keep things more simple, it will always scale better. I've always seen this. So maybe you don't need like 10 different traffic sources, you only need to like master like 2 or 3. And so just trying to keep things simple, that will certainly help. And then the 3 rules to scale as an author, it's really just breaking it down to these 3 things. It's acquiring readers that are looking to actually invest in you at the lowest cost possible. Think Facebook ads, Google ads, organic posts, BookBubs, anything to acquire a reader. Make sure that whatever you're marketing is as close as possible or better to what they're expecting than what they're expecting. This is your product. It's everything within your brand. If they buy the first book and it's not what they're expecting, they're not going to continue to buy. And with that as well is maximizing the amount that they read over their lifetime as a reader. So retargeting ads, back matter, email, and organic content. If you can just master and think about those 3 things and then continue writing, you're going to be able to scale. Now, getting into leveraging the Facebook algorithm. So with the all-seeing Facebook algorithm, this is continuously learning every single day. It's getting better every single day. It's learning off of all of our user data. So all of us probably are on Facebook and Instagram. We all have a phone in our pocket, and they have been tracking us in terms of all of our data over years. They know more about us than we do, honestly, about ourselves. They know everything about us. And so when it comes down to the Facebook algorithm, their number one entire goal is to provide the most positive experience on the platform for their users and to show the most relevant ads. That is all that they care about. Because they're a business, they want to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. So that's all that they care about. So when it comes down to advertising, they're looking at tons of different data points to show which ads to show to which users, and all of these data points play into user behavior, preferences, ad data, ad performance data, contextual information. So diving in, the data points, user behaviors, preferences, demographics, it's taking all of this into account. Pretty much, if you can think about if you do anything on the platform, like anything you click see more on for a post, I guess with this, any pages you like, ads you interact with, posts you're engaging with, the words you're actually using in your posts and comments, all of this is playing into your unique user ID, and it's being able to track all of this. So that's how they're able to essentially sell to people. And that's how we can leverage it, for yourself to be able to scale, is because the more you know about someone, the better you can advertise to them. Think about if you're gonna sell a product to yourself, it'd probably be pretty easy because you know exactly what you want, you know how much you'd pay, you know everything about yourself, so you know what you'd want to buy. So that's how they're able to sell so well and leverage the Facebook algorithm. Now, getting into ad performance data, so they're also taking into account things like click-through rates, conversions, engagements, and they can see this across every single ad account that's currently running at this time. They can see all the pixel data from all the different ad accounts, and they're taking into consideration all of this data at once. And they're also looking at how previous ads have also performed compared to similar ads. So all of that data, pretty much anything in terms of data, they're taking into consideration. Some of the contextual information as well is the actual content of the ad. So they know who is in the ad. They know the color, the background, who's going to watch the video before they're even going to watch the video. Before you even post it, Facebook knows that people are going to watch this video. They're also looking at the targeting options selected, which we're going to get into those, which are changing, and the overall relevance of the ad to the user. Like if you think if you were on the platform and you were just getting ads that you were never interested in, you'd probably leave the platform a lot quicker. And so that's a very important part, is showing relevant ads to them as well. And so all of this is determining into the Facebook algorithm of how they're showing their ads to their users. Now, it's also going to optimize for engagement and user satisfaction, because Facebook's ultimate goal is to keep their users on the platform and provide them a valuable experience. Because they're a business, of course, and so the longer that you're on the platform, the more money that they're making, and so that is their main goal. So it does seem like a lot with the Facebook algorithm, but you can really just kind of break it down into these three ways right here. The very first one, and this is very, very important, is to capture and not steal the attention of your readers or any customers as well. They would be interested in your books within the very first 3 seconds of seeing your ad. So if you ever run an ad and it's in your primary text and it says something like, oh no, I can't believe that happened, or something of that nature, to where it would really hook any audience, you want it to be more directed towards your either tropes or your genre, to where they would be interested in that within that first 3 seconds. So you don't want to be selling to everyone, you only want to be selling to the people that are actually interested in your book. And this plays into effect with the sales ads as well in the pixel data, which we're going to get to in a minute. You also want to provide a positive experience that actually entertains and makes your customer think they have to know what happens next. So every single line or whatever your video is, it has to be dragging them, pulling them down the primary text where they're continuously being invested and they have to know what happens next. And then the third is going to be to run sales ads, which are optimizing for purchases, which can leverage pixel data to find the readers that want to actually buy from you. So traffic ads versus sales ads. So has anyone ran sales ads, by the way? Anyone? Okay. It's like 10%, 5%? Okay. So sales ads versus traffic ads. So if anyone heard of direct sales, probably. We leverage sales ads. So what is the difference? So this is pretty important in terms of traffic ads. They optimize for people to click on your ad. After that, the algorithm does not care what happens to that person. They don't track what happens next after that person clicks on your ad. And so it's really important in terms of when we're trying to scale. If you've ever tried to scale a traffic campaign and it maybe just stopped working, or you couldn't scale it past like $200 per day or like $500 per day and it just broke, that's why. Is because all the algorithm cares about is who's clicking on your ad. And when you start to scale it, it just goes for people that are just click happy and don't buy. They don't care. It could be anyone that's clicking on your ad. It could be just an image that they like, and so they're clicking on it. Now, the difference between that is with a sales campaign, it uses the pixel data, which we're going to get into what the pixel data is in a minute, but the pixel essentially is on your site, and it's able to track what a person does on your website after they click. So it's saving all of that data. It's saving the pages that they're going to, who's adding to cart, who's initiating checkout, who's purchasing, how much they're spending on your website. And it's using that data to be able to optimize towards people that actually want to buy from you, not just click on your ads. That's why with sales ads and using the pixel is that your ads will actually get better over time because they're saving that data over time. So what is the pixel? Well, all of us that have Facebook or Instagram or on any of these platforms, we all have a unique user ID. And so anyone that's on the Meta platforms has this. And the pixel is just a piece of code. I'm going to provide something at the end that's going to show you how to like get it all set up and everything. But it is a piece of code that it will track people on your website. It tracks what pages they've gone to, added to cart, initiated checkout, how long they've been on your website, who's making a purchase, and exactly how much they've spent as well. And it knows who's doing this, and it's obviously going to use this to find more people that are purchasing. Because we don't care if the people are clicking. Clicks don't matter in terms of purchases. We want actual purchases. So it's like having a 24/7 assistant. It's like just helping you understand your readers better constantly without you even having to do anything. Because if this traffic is coming from, say, an organic post or an email letter, it's still tracking those people that are on your site. It doesn't have to be coming from a Facebook ad. And so all of this data is going to help your ads perform better and better over time. And they're going to get more accurate as well. And now between traffic ads and sales ads, after over $45 million on Facebook spend for e-commerce and authors, I have never once seen a traffic ad perform even close to how good a sales ad performs when you're sending them to your site. Because they're going to give you very low quality traffic, and that's why they also cost so much less. Now, we will pay more to run sales ads, but that is the price for high quality traffic that's actually going to buy from you, because we'll pay that extra premium. Sales ads, they're not only going to outperform traffic ads, but they're also going to give you more pixel data, and the more pixel data you get, the better your ads do over time. Traffic ads don't tell you who purchased or when someone purchased or how much they spent. All they do is they tell you that someone clicked. That's all they do. Now you're here with traffic campaigns, you get like a 10 cent or maybe even like 5 cent, I've seen CPC, 20 cent CPC. That's cool, but like who purchased? Maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20, 1 out of 40. You can track with Amazon attribution links, yes. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but it's pretty difficult. With this, you're not also building that data with the Amazon attribution links, it's just giving the data to Amazon. You're just paying for their data, essentially. Now, when we're looking at primary metrics, there's pretty much, when we're running sales ads, there's 2 metrics that you want to look at. Now, these 2 metrics are actually going to help us move forward. It's actually going to help getting you a lower cost per purchase and maximizing your return on ad spend. That's really all you care about. In terms of scaling and acquiring customers, we care about getting the lowest cost per purchase on the best product to actually bring people into our funnel. Now for vanity metrics, those are things that you can kind of get, it can kind of confuse you if you're looking at all the metrics too much. That's things like cost per click, because like even if we have a really high cost per click but our cost per result's really low, doesn't really matter. That's just high quality traffic that we're getting. We'll take that. That's great because that's an actual customer. So yeah, cost per click or cost per purchase, very important. We're aiming to get this as low as possible. Return on ad spend also defines success. I I would argue that cost per purchase is more important because you're actually acquiring a customer. I'd rather spend $1,000 at a 1.8x ROAS than $100 at a 3x ROAS. That makes sense. You're getting a lot more profit at the end, a lot more customers, and so that's where I would like cost per purchase more than return on ad spend. And we're actually going to scale based off of these primary metrics. That's all that we care about is if cost per purchase is great, we're going to keep scaling. Now for vanity metrics, cost per click, it is important because if your cost per click is just like $4 or $5, there's probably something going on with your ad. It's probably just not grabbing the right attention. It's not getting people to click, so that's where you want to take a look at it, but it's not as important as sales. This can also vary brand by brand and genre of the books that you're promoting, but it's ultimately still not as important as the sales you're driving. Video views, that's another one that can, it does play a role in terms of telling us how much people watched our video, which is important. Maybe if you have a longer video ad, that can be important, but still, we just care if people purchase. It doesn't really matter if they're watching the videos. Now, with sales ads against traffic ads, with traffic ads, you can try to track with Amazon attribution links. You can look at it month over month. That's probably the best way to look at it. But it's still, you're sending the data to Amazon, and you're not getting that data. Like in the long run, if you ran these for a year, you would be getting this data if you're sending it to your store. Obviously, if things are working on KU, just continue to, I'm not telling you just like pull your books off right now and just start running sales ads, but you are going to build a lot more data this way. The problem is though, when you're running those traffic ads, your ads, when you're running sales ads, they see if someone added a cart and then left your website. So those sales ads are now going to start targeting those people more that added a cart. With traffic ads, they don't know what they do after they click, so they're not going to know who to retarget. Yeah, so if you're running traffic to KU and it's working, great. Continue to do that. If you have a lot of books in your backlist, that might be when you want to go ahead and pull a few off just to try it with sales ads. But just make sure, please, if you are running any ads to your store, do not run traffic ads. They're not going to perform nearly as well as sales ads. So with direct sales, and this is a really hot topic right now, so I'm just going to get into a little bit about direct sales. So direct sales is not easy. It does take a lot of work up front because you are starting with 0 pixel data. It does take an investment in terms of getting your store up and running. We're going to be talking about Shopify tomorrow and a few shortcuts you can use for that. But it also does take some time and effort in terms of posting organic content, you're testing content, but this is all figuring out your own marketing and what's going to actually sell your books. It does take a lot of dedication in terms of making a lot of content at the beginning. But there's a lot of reasons of why direct sales is great, so we're going to get into a few of those. The first few is you actually get to own your readers' data. So in terms of their name, you get to understand how much your customers are actually spending with you over the lifetime. You get to build a lot closer relationships with your readers. And then you're also getting, obviously, the pixel data, email, and SMS. And then overall, your results are going to continue to get better over time, more pixel data over time. That's why your ads just continue to get better. And that means that the longer that you run your ads, the more accurate that your targeting is actually going to get. And so since the targeting gets better over time, this actually allows you to scale and optimize when you're optimizing for that high intent objective of being a purchase and not just a click. And then in terms of control, you do get to control every single aspect of your marketing this way in terms of your ads, your copy, figuring out what actually sells your books. You take out some popular highlights, test those out. You also get access to daily payouts with most of the commerce platforms. Shopify you do, not 30-day payouts, that's nice. You're not in competition with hundreds of other books. It is your own brand, it is your own bookstore. So you're selling your own books. And so when readers purchase on there, you can retarget them to bring them back to the rest of your books as well. You also do get to keep 100% of the profits, just minus the 2%, like 2.7% credit card fees, which is nice. You also get to see what, you get to learn what your readers actually want to see the more that you market. So your marketing continues to get more optimized the more that you're marketing, the more that you're running these ads. You can also grow a following by posting this organic content. And so all this will play back into the retargeting, the bottom of funnel, so getting those readers to come back. You can kind of write at your own pace in this way. I have heard of like KU where you're just putting out books a lot quicker, so you kind of get to write at your own pace, take a little bit more time there. And you also do get to become a lot closer with your readers because you're talking to them on organic profiles. You know that they're investing with you as well if they're buying, say, like a bundle or a more expensive item. You're going to be much closer with those readers. Now, in terms of the Facebook pixel, you're also going to be able to really start this and start to build this data. It's really going to lay out a foundation for success with direct sales ads, tracking the analysis, user behavior, all of this for more targeted marketing. And it is essential for your campaign's effectiveness and allowing you to get better over time. I feel like I've said that a lot. So with launching your first campaign, it's looked like everyone in here has ran ads before at least. So it's just starting up, clicking on that create button, clicking on sales. And then for your audiences, so Facebook really is going towards a more broad audience. They know when you launch up your ads, if it's an image ad or a video ad, they typically know who's going to, they have like a pretty good idea of like a small audience that's going to purchase from you because they can see all the pixel data across all the other sites. And so they have a pretty good idea of who's going to purchase from you at the beginning. And so typically if you can just put in 3 authors and 2 audiences for one ad set, and you can just start it out there. In terms of finding inspiration for ads, what you can go ahead and do is actually look in the Facebook ad library. So you can literally just look up what other people are doing. Obviously, you don't want to copy, but you can go ahead and take inspiration from what other people are doing. Typically, if the ads have been running for longer than 2 months, you can see that and they're running to someone's store. It's a pretty good idea that they are successful at the moment. And so you can just take a look at like what the first thing is that you see. So you want to look at the hook, the image, the primary ad copy, what's actually pulling them in with the image, what's grabbing their attention, all of that. What's stopping your scroll? Like, would it stop your scroll if you were looking at this ad? You want to take into consideration everything, and really analyze everything. Another great source of content is Book Talk as well. It's a great way to find content because if a video does go viral, that is a very good idea that that video is not only hooking attention, it's grabbing attention, but it's also holding attention for a longer period of time. So you really want to take a look at those viral videos and to see if they are grabbing and holding attention, because that's a great idea. Typically, you could take one of those, if you do get a viral video, and just put it up in an ad. Typically, it'll work really well to start. But yeah, everything starts at grabbing attention or holding it as well. Now, with your primary ad copy, why storytelling will matter. So people are more interested in being entertained than informed. Because if you tell someone about your story and be like, this is the greatest story ever, you should really read this story, people really want to be entertained. And so if you can use you want to leverage the actual story to be able to sell the story. We've seen it work really well, we've seen it scale really well. And so trying to implement that into your ads to be able to sell works great. Using the captivating narrative to sell the better products. And then having reviews in the ad copy still will definitely help. It's a value add, and it will be great in your ad copy. You probably heard this before, is think about it like a movie trailer. Typically when you're starting out, you want to start out with around 150 to 250 words within the ad copy. And you can pull out even just one scene and use this in the ad copy to go ahead and to pull them into the book, make sure that every line is pulling them down to where once they get down to your cliffhanger at the bottom of your ad copy, they have to know what happens next. That's the main thing. Because really we're selling emotions. With the words, you're selling emotions, and that's what the ad copy is doing, is it's pulling the emotions from the book. You're hooking the correct audience that are actually going to want to read your genre or your tropes, and you're pulling them down the ad copy to make them wonder what's going to happen next. And inevitably, that's going to get them to click. And then engaging with persuasive text. So a single line can make or break their engagement, so make sure there's no dull moments in the ad copy. Make sure that every single line is pulling them down. And you want to create curiosity. Make them wonder what happens next. Force them to think in their mind. They have to click to find out what happens next. They have to go to your website to learn more about the book, or maybe you can even have like a blurb on your website to give them a little bit more information there. But yes, this is the main thing, is you have to avoid clickbait in your Facebook ads. So Facebook does not like clickbait. Typically, every single time, you always want to have your first sentence in your primary copy be at least 10 words long. Any shorter than that typically doesn't give as much contextual information of what the book is about to then pull them into, click on that See More button. So you want to make sure that they have an idea of what it's about before they click on that See More. So we really have to respect the audience's time and trust. Like if you were going to buy a product about something and you thought it was something else, and you get to the very end, you get on the website and it's completely the opposite, you probably just leave, and Facebook can see that, and over time, if they do leave and it's different, they're going to charge you more. So you're going to get a lot higher CPMs that way, because their whole goal is to give the user a positive experience. Now, when it comes to images, you really want to make sure that your image relates for better CPMs. So make sure that whatever your image is, it relates with your book, with your primary copy. It doesn't have to be an exact image. A lot of the time, we just had like a book cover. It was literally just a book cover with great primary copy, and it scaled really well, because obviously it relates. And when you're choosing that image, make sure that you're put it in your mind to where if you're scrolling through your feed and it was your image, would that stop your scroll? Would that actually capture your attention? And then whatever you're looking at in the primary copy, would that relate to what your book is, the genre, the tropes, to then pull them into that See More, to then learn more about your book? Yeah, I just said that. Cool. And then higher relevance, this is always true. Higher the relevance will lead to increased impressions every single time. So the more relevant the ad is, because Facebook wants to drive relevant ads, the more impressions they're going to give you. Now, in terms of some basic scaling rules when you're running sales ads, what you can go ahead and do is just scale by $5 once every 3 days if you're making more money than what you're spending over the last 7-day time frame. So you never want to look at ads on a day-by-day basis, I promise. And after you're spending $30 per day, what you can go ahead and do is scale by 10% once every 3 days as well if you're making more than what you're spending. You can just do this on a 7-day basis. And try to make budget changes as close to midnight as possible, like around like 9:30, 10 o'clock, just because the Facebook algorithm resets every day. And so if you can make it closer to the end of the day as possible, then it resets that next day, and you can drive a lot more consistent results that way. Some optimization rules, what you can go ahead and do is just cut any ads that have over a 1.4x cost per result of your product. And so if your product price is $20 and you have a cost per result of $28 over a 7-day period, you want to go ahead and cut that ad. That's just been a rule of thumb in terms of when you're starting up and scaling, or when you're starting up at like a minimal budget. If your ads hit that, you just want to go ahead and cut them. What you can also do is duplicate and drop in new ads. If your cost per result, 1 to 2 new ads, if your cost per result is above your product price over a 7-day period. You can drop them in once every 7 days. So if your product price is $20 and your cost per result is above $20 over a 7-day period, just go ahead and duplicate, drop in 1 to 2 new ads. And if you have more than 7 ads within the ad set, rank them by the amount spent over the last 7 days, and go ahead and cut the 2 bottom ads that have spent the least unless they have a purchase. Just with those few rules, you can go ahead and start to scale, probably up to $100 plus per day. Pretty profitably if you're just consistently looking at the Facebook ad library and making those optimizations. Now, when it comes to sales ads, I've heard a lot of people say that making optimizations on a day-by-day basis, and I would always recommend to make them on a 7 to 14-day basis, like always, because I've made this mistake so many times of like really trying to analyze results on a day-by-day basis, and it can just stress you out. I promise. It's like taking a toll on me in terms of just looking at these results consistently on a day-by-day, and it helps so much more if you're analyzing everything on a 7 to 14-day basis. Cost per result, pretty much all results as well. It's going to save you so much time and so much stress when you're running sales ads. So kind of breaking everything down, it really does come down to the understanding the Facebook algorithm. It's a very complex system, and it's determining the content that users see on the feed. That's pretty much all the Facebook algorithm is. It's determining what you're going to see next, every single post, whether it be an ad, whether it be an organic post. It's just determining how can I keep this person on the platform for as long as possible and show as many ads. They're a business too, so they got to do that. It also requires time to learn and optimize based off of these user interactions with pixel data and things like that. Always observe results over a 7 to 14-day basis. What you can go ahead and do when you're running sales ads is look at things on a 14-day basis, and then say if your cost per result's at $25, and then you just let it run, and then on a 7-day, it's at a $20. So it's continuously getting better over that time. You can continue to let it run, continue to scale. It's not gonna break like traffic ads do. You can just continue to scale because you're getting more pixel data. You also wanna avoid evaluating performance on a single day basis. There's going to be ebbs and flows. The way that it works is, say if you're reaching out to 100 people on the Facebook algorithm, your budget allows you to reach out to 100 people. That first day, it doesn't really know who's gonna purchase. It's reaching out to brand new people. Now, it's getting a good idea that first day, and then the second day, it's coming back and it's saying, all right, I know that this person added a cart, this person went to the website, so it's gonna start retargeting a few of those people. And then the third day, you're gonna typically see a spike to where it knows exactly who to purchase, it knows when they're gonna purchase, it targets them heavily, you get a spike, and then it goes back into learning that next day. So you're gonna see sort of that trend when you're starting out. It's very, very normal. So that's why that day-to-day basis, looking at the account, it can be very, very stressful. So yeah, fluctuations are very normal, and you just wanna really optimize based on that holistic view instead of that short-term focus. It's gonna help a lot. Like the biggest brands in the world, biggest companies in the world, like they look at things over quarters or years even. And so the longer that you can take in that data, the better you're gonna see results. Instead of looking at things over like a week by week, if you think about like where I can be 6 months to 12 months from now, you're gonna be a lot further and be able to grow the brand a lot more. So that was the program. I know there's a lot of stuff in terms of Facebook, and it's kind of new, so I did put together this free course. If you want to go and take it, it's going to go through Shopify setup, book funnel integration, building out your offer, organic content, Facebook ads setup, and Google ads scaling. It's about like 3 or 4 hours worth of content. And so if you want to go through that, and yeah, I hope you have been able to learn more about Facebook ads. If you have any questions, I know it's like a lot of information, but if you have any more questions, I'd be happy to take those now. Cool. Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, question, why Shopify versus WordPress?
Yeah, so Shopify, out of every e-commerce store that I've ever seen, Shopify has the highest conversion rate. It's also the easiest to use, especially when you're starting out. They have great integrations with BookFunnel, with Book Vault, and they're always gonna stay on, they're always on the cutting edge of everything. And so I would recommend using them. You can also start out with it's like a $1 per month for 3 months trial. So you can just test it out. Typically you can build out a store in like 2 weeks, like an entire store, get everything hooked up. If you just want like a base store, just get people to send to it. So that's why I'd recommend it. I've always seen a better conversion rate and it's much easier to use. I think it looks nicer too, so kind of personal preference, but yeah.
Just when you're saying making changes close to midnight, which midnight are you talking about?
Whenever, that's a really good question. Whenever your ad account is set up in. So whatever your time zone is, really. Yeah.
What Shopify speed score do you always want to stay above to not negatively influence your buyers?
Yeah, so I get this question a lot. It's a hot take. Shopify speed score does not matter. I have seen like 1 speed score, and it loaded perfectly fine. Typically, that is like if you add more templates on, you're going to see your speed score go down. I would not think about it. Like, yeah, I've seen a lot of stores scale with like a 1-page score or speed, so I wouldn't think about it too much.
Okay, I have a couple questions from our online viewers, the streamers. Sabrina asks, every so often I get notifications from Facebook that my ads are doing well. Should I increase the budget on those like they suggest?
If it's sales ads, yes. I mean, if it's sales ads, yes. That also determines on, they're going to say that it's performing well in terms of how others are performing. And so it also determines on what your product is, what your cost per result is. That's the main thing, is if it's lower, if your cost per result is lower than what your product price is, then yes, I would start increasing it from there. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, and one more from Joy. She says, I have a question. How can we do a sales ad if we only sell books on Amazon?
Yes, so that's where you really can't. It's just traffic ads at that point. You kind of have to. And so, yeah, there's really nothing you can do there, honestly. You just got to keep running to Amazon.
Could you explain your 0.5 under your optimization slide again?
Yeah. Which one?
It was 0.5 under optimization.
0.5.
Yeah, that one.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of just like a general rule of thumb. Sometimes we cut it. It's when you're starting out, this is pretty basic, I would say, in terms of just if it's above that cost per result, you just want to go ahead and cut it and just try to learn from the ad. If it was at that $28 or if it was close and you're still driving purchases, just try to take the learning from that ad and create a better ad. Think about how you can create a better hook, things like that.
So when you say duplicate, you weren't, because to me, I read it to understand that you were duplicating it and then dropping another one of those ones in. But you mean
Yeah.
duplicate it, tweak it, change it, and stop the original.
Exactly,
Right,
yes. Sorry, yeah, that's why I have the course at the end, because there's a lot of like in the actual ad account stuff to where I will go through that in there to where you do want to duplicate the ads instead of, you don't want to change out the actual ad. You want to make sure you're always duplicating and creating new ones.
Okay. Thanks.
My question is, first of all, great presentation.
Thank you.
As someone who's been doing this the last 4 years, I love that there's more understanding and more people diving into this. But I did have a question, being that you've worked in e-com with different niches. Which one you've seen has been the closest to the author's niche? Because
Honestly, I was actually just talking about this earlier, was that authors have the like, with selling a digital product and not having to worry about inventory, you have such a great advantage in terms of being able to scale. It is like unmatched with any e-commerce store I've ever seen. Because like you don't have to worry about inventory. Especially when you're selling the ebooks and scaling that way, it is like such a great advantage. And so I can't honestly even say that there's one that's like exact. What? Yeah, info products, yes. But it's still just, if you're able to pull those readers in and not have to worry about that, you can run your business without having like a huge team and a warehouse and all that stuff for acquiring customers. Obviously, when you get into paperbacks, that's a little bit different. But finding those readers that will invest in you with the ebook side of things first, and then retargeting with the paperbacks works great. But yeah, I would say so.
My question's about retargeting. So Facebook's changing kind of their way they're doing it, right? Are you still running retargeting ads separately?
Yeah, so honestly, not really.
Okay.
A lot of it is done, just like I was saying with Facebook.
It's done
is
automatically, right? Like kind
Yes,
of. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So a lot of the time we just have one campaign set up, and some of the ads within that campaign will do retargeting for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
And you can just scale that one offer to, we scaled really far.
How do you exclude? Are you doing any excluding?
Not
No,
really,
it's
no.
just-
Yeah,
you're
just
just-
broad, because
okay.
Facebook's really smart. Like,
Yeah.
they know to target, and like, they will target the right people. Sometimes they even target people that have already purchased from you because they know they're going to interact with the ad, and that builds your trust with new people that are seeing your ad.
Right.
Because it's another comment and stuff like that. So
Okay.
typically we scale the best with just one campaign, yeah. And like
Okay.
about 3 to 6 ads,
Okay.
you can scale.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations, or have you seen any trends in terms of which products makes the most sense to target with your ads versus a higher priced bundle, or maybe whatever your higher ticket items
Yeah.
are versus maybe a lower priced book one?
Yeah, that is a great question. So it is, to answer your question, it is a bundle. That would be it. Typically, the offer is going to be between 5 to 12 books, between like a $19.99 to a $39.99. And the reason is it's a lot easier to get, say, a $10 cost per purchase on a $25 product with $15 in margin, rather than a $5 cost per purchase on a $10 product. So you only have a little bit more margin, and it's a lot easier to scale with that $25 cost per product at a $10 cost per purchase. That makes sense. Yeah. Cool.
Hi, so I work at a company and our marketing team loves Facebook. Our second choice is Google, and I recognize this is a Facebook panel, but I do have a question. So they love Facebook because of the optimization and actually all the data that they provide us, but I'm having a hard time getting them to try out other platforms because they say no other platforms matches Facebook on those fronts. Do you know of any?
Yeah, besides Google, we're running Google. We're trying to get into Snapchat. TikTok's also new. They had like a thing where they were restricting authors from going on there, but I guess you might be able to get on TikTok now. Facebook, like in terms of data-wise, Facebook has by far the most. They know by far the most out of anyone. And that's kind of where like simplicity scales, complexity fails. Is like, if you have Facebook and Google, you can scale. Like, everyone's on those two platforms. And so Snapchat's going to be trying to get into that, and then TikTok, I would say, next.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So a question on targeting. Some instructors in the space are suggesting that instead of selecting comparable authors, of just selecting age and gender and and let Facebook algorithm figure out which people within that space.
Yeah, so I would try to keep at least around like a 5 million audience plus, or like a minimum of 5 million audience. And so with those authors, if you can't find one that's like within your space, I would target them or anyone close. If not, I would just target some some audiences comparable. If you can't even find the audiences, you could try like TV shows. Really, audiences, like they're not nearly as relevant. Like if you have a good ad in an open audience, it's going to beat a bad ad in a targeted audience every single time. So I would just try to keep it a little bit more broad. Yeah.
Thank you.
For those of us who are doing traffic ads straight to Amazon for Kindle Unlimited and sales on Amazon, do you have any thoughts on scaling for us? I recently scaled from about 80 a day to 500 to 600 a day on those ads. It's going really well, but I have found that every time I test new art, for example, it's showing the ads to people who've already seen the ads, and it's hard to reach new people. So do you have any sense of how to scale beyond where I am now running traffic ads?
Yeah, what are the specific ads that they are? Like what are the styles of ads?
They're pretty simple. They're images, I write mysteries, so they're images of spooky cabins, and then the other kind is characters from the books.
And what's the typical ROI on it, like per week over week?
What's that?
What's the ROI on it, like week over week?
Within the attribution system, it shows like I'm making, $1.50 per dollar I spend, but that's not capturing accurately because it doesn't track audiobooks, and it's missing lots of people who are seeing the ad, then they go to their Kindle and buy the book and never click the ad. So it's a good ROI. I don't know exactly, but it's well enough that it's scaled really nicely up to 500 a day, but
That's
then
awesome.
kind of stalled.
Yeah, I would try out some video ads, honestly. I would put it in a different campaign.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in the same campaign. If that's working for you, I would just let it run.
I haven't done video at all though, so that's a good tip.
Yeah, because video with traffic is it can capture a lot more data because it knows how long people are watching the video. They also have like eye tracking on Facebook, so they know like who's watching the videos and like where they're looking. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of ruining like the apps for everyone, but
Wait, you said they're tracking our eye movements too?
they do track eye movements. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, good news.
Sorry, everyone, but
All right, thank you. I want to take advantage of that.
okay, cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
cool, awesome. Yeah, that's it. Awesome, cool. Thank you, everyone, and yeah.